Hi everybody and welcome to Consordini.com. Today we will use Reaper and a software instrument called Sforzando to create a musical arrangement for a live violin recording. Let's begin.
We have a blank Reaper document in front of us. And now we need to make a new track. So to do that, we need to go Track, Insert New Track, and a new track appears. We can also press Command T. What kind of track is this will depend on what we're going to do with it next. It can be an audio track, a MIDI track, or even an effect return track. Let's put an instrument onto it. Let's hit Effects and use a filter to find a VST instrument called Sforzando. Double-click on the name and the plugin will load. This is a blank instance of Sforzando, and for it to make a sound, we need to load a sample into it, or load a patch. To load a patch, we just need to go to the folder that contains our patches, drag it and drop it onto the sampler. I would like to start by adding a sample of a piano to the track. Select the upright piano, drag it and drop it onto the sampler and it's loaded. First of all, let's bring the master volume of the sampler down so it doesn't clip when we play. Now we're ready to make our first MIDI clip, or MIDI item as it's called in Reaper. To do that, let's make a selection, select a couple of bars, and then go to Insert, Insert New MIDI Item. And a MIDI clip appears in the arrangement window. So this will be the container for our MIDI information. Double-click on the MIDI clip to enter piano roll. This is where we'll be entering our notes. When I double-click on the piano roll, a note appears. I can drag it out, I can resize it, I can move it across the piano roll. As you can see, the note defaults to the grid size. Right now, it's 1/16. So I'm going to change that to the whole bar because I'm going to draw a chord. Just switch that to 1 bar. Double-click on the note to make a first C major chord. Now I'm going to make another chord, which will be an A minor chord, so I'm going to change the grid to something smaller and continue drawing. The chord I made is too short, so I'm going to use a lasso tool to select them all, right-click on a mouse button, drag them out by the tail. Let's continue making our chord progression. Now the most important part in the session is knowing what's what, so be sure to name your tracks. This one is piano. Just click on the header and change the name of the track. Let's check out our chord progression. First of all, I think it's too fast and it's too dry. So first of all, I'm going to lower the tempo. I'm going to go to BPM down here and type 89 and hit return. The tempo has decreased, and because this is MIDI data, its tempo has decreased as well. Now that sounds much better. The only thing why it doesn't sound right is because it doesn't have any depth and any space. To fix that, let's apply some reverb. Now there are different ways to apply reverb to a track. You can use it as an insert or a send. An insert will create a space for the particular instrument you've inserted it on. However, a send will create a space which all the tracks and instruments can share by sending a bit of its signal into that space. So now we're going to make a track, and this will be our send return track. So first of all, we go to Effects, go to the Carcass folder, where the pre-installed plugins will be, and select Reverberate, which is the reverb plugin. Now, let's send a copy of a piano signal onto the reverb track. To send a copy to another track, go to Track Send cell, select Add New Send, and choose Reverb. Now a copy of the signal will be sent to the reverb track, and we can see it here. Now in the reverb plugin, let's select a preset. I like the sound of wide. And let's drag the dry signal down, so we only get the wet signal or affected signal from this track. We can control the amount of the signal sent by using the dial on the track send cell. That sounds pretty great. So now we need to make sure that the low end of the reverb doesn't get muddy. I'm going to use the high pass filter to get rid of all the low end of the reverb. I'm going to drag it up to about 250 or 30 Hz. I'm going to leave the low pass filter as it is.
In this video, we have learned how to use a software instrument called Phasando, and also how to use send and returns. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you back in our next video.